Hello Falcons fans, thank you very much for tuning in to J Mike's Missives on YouTube as we break down Mock Draft 5.0. That's the 2010 mock draft, as we are just days away, hours away actually, from the first round of the 2010 NFL Draft. I'm J. Michael Moore, Managing Editor of AtlantaFalcons.com, and thank you so much for joining me over the past couple of weeks as we've broken down some of the options the Falcons may have at number 19. In today's pick, we won't waste any time. For the final mock draft, we have, going to the Falcons with the 19th selection, Sean Weatherspoon, linebacker, Missouri. Told you fans I'd get around to him eventually. Keeping in mind that through this entire process, I wanted to throw out some names that may be more realistic than others and not giving any weight to one player versus another. Weatherspoon was a popular choice all the way along for the fans, and wanted to make everybody wait a little while before we broke this down. So, not saying this is my perfect prediction, what I think actually will happen, but like all mock drafts, I've tried to make it better with each progressing week or every 2 weeks, each progressing period. So Sean Weatherspoon, certainly a guy that's in the mix for the Falcons, certainly a guy that is talked about a lot in the media, a guy who's been reported to visit with the team along with a lot of players for whatever that's worth, but would not be shocked at all, as I think a lot of fans would be, if his name were called on draft day, the number 19 pick. Some reasons why the Falcons may go for Sean Weatherspoon is, one, he's a linebacker. That's a position of need, considering defense is still a spot the team is trying to tweak. Now, why do you take him when you're returning all three of your starting linebackers? Well, first of all, depth and also versatility. Here's a guy that some scouts believe could play all three positions of the NFL, could back up immediately there for the Falcons, maybe move into a starting role if perhaps Mike Peterson were to go down with an injury, a long-term replacement perhaps for Mike Peterson, who is a veteran. Then you've got Stephen Nicholas on the other side, who was coming off just his first year as a starter. So it adds some competition in the mix there. Now, why do you go linebacker instead of defensive end? Simply put, one name, Parade Jerry. If the Falcons do believe that Parade Jerry was the key to why the defensive line did not get as much pass rush last year, his injury broke down what they could have gotten up the middle. You can go into this year's draft going, you know what, we're okay at defensive end with Croy Bierman and Jamal Anderson, Chauncey Davis in the mix as well. Lawrence Sidbury, you drafted last year. If we get Parade Jerry back in the middle, it'll change our pass rush. If that is indeed the thinking, if that's what the team thinks they have, it opens up linebacker as a possible position. So, Sean Weatherspoon, mock draft 5.0, number 19. Welcome to the Atlanta Falcons. Fans, you can tune into the tune into the NFL draft this week starting on Thursday, AtlantaFalcons.com/live for all of our live coverage of the NFL draft. Real quick, before I go through some of these other picks that we have from the mock draft. I do pick all 32 teams, including the Falcons. Top 5 did not change much at all, except for, look at the run on tackles. Starting at number 4, Washington Redskins with Russell Okung. You've got Kansas City Chiefs taking tackle, Seahawks taking tackle, jump down to 8, Raiders taking tackle as well. Now, if there is a run on tackles at the top of the draft, that will help the Falcons by pushing down all the defensive players into that mid-range of the first round. So, if you're a Falcons fan that wants the team to take defense, keep an eye on this. This may be the spot where you can say, okay, there's going to be guys available because it's going to move the draft down further. A real possibility for all these teams that need tackles, and I just saw where Mike Mayock, NFL Network, believes there could be 6 tackles taken in the first round. That's a large number. Going right ahead, Des Bryant, a name that a lot of fans have thrown out for Falcons perhaps. Throw some depth in at wide receiver. Well, have him going to the Denver Broncos. With the trade of Brandon Marshall, that is a huge position of need for them. Character issues, sure, are being reported. However, positions of need sometimes trump some of those things. So look for the Broncos to take Des Bryant at number 11. Moving on down the draft board, another linebacker, Rolando McClain, goes to the Giants. That should make Giants fans happy. They need a replacement for Antonio Pierce. Tennessee Titans, just up the road, Jason Pierre-Paul falls in your lap. Congratulations to you. Brandon Graham, another Michigan name, or another name that's been associated with the Falcons. Have him going to the San Francisco 49ers. Go ahead and play into that camp that thinks that Brandon Graham is only an outside linebacker in the NFL. I, for one, think he could play defensive end. Now, if he does go to a 3-4 team, of course, he would switch to an outside linebacker position. Moving right along, Houston Texans changing this pick for the first time in the mock draft series. Kyle Wilson is that selection because the Falcons signed Dante Robinson away. Cornerback becomes a major need. for the Texans as they get a lot more national exposure this year. So look for them to upgrade and try to make sure they can keep up with Peyton Manning and high-powered offense in the AFC South. The last but not least, we'll take one quick look at the division rival New Orleans Saints. Everson Griffin, who actually, ironically, was my pick for the Falcons last week. New Orleans Saints going defensive end at the bottom of the first round to try to make that defense more aggressive if that is possible. Either way, shaping up for a great NFC South battle. NFL schedule was released earlier this week. Fans, you got that to chew on as well. Busy NFL week here in Flowery Branch and all over the country. Don't forget the NFL Draft Thursday night, 7:30. You can watch on the NFL Network and ESPN. And you can also watch companion coverage on AtlantaFalcons.com, where we'll have live reaction from Thomas Dimitroff and other Falcons personnel as we get the draft going. It's 3 days this year, but by Sunday, we should have 8 new, perhaps more, depending on trades, Atlanta Falcons. Thank you again for watching, and thanks for supporting the Mock Draft 2010. And check out Mock Draft 5.0 on J. Mike's Missives.